What up? What up? What up? It's the man Sean P coming in live. This is Sean P Experience, man. How y'all doing out there? Yes, you're not seeing things. This is real. This is like my third show in a few days. We got more to come, man. I got a very, very special guest. This is a personal show this time. Most times my questions is for the audience and for the layperson. I'm gonna be selfish today. Because most of these questions are my personal questions about the world of audio narration. We have an amazing narrator right here on the live experience, giving us her time and her knowledge. I have Alexis Stewart. How you doing, man?
Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm excited to pick your brain to learn about the world of audio narration. I've been about, I would say, 2 or 3 years heavy on audiobooks in my personal journey. And me doing this
Hmm.
podcast, interviewing authors, audiobooks gave me a big advantage to get through a lot of content faster than I would have
Hmm.
trying to sit there and just read it, right? So
Right.
I've acquired a lot of audiobook friends. We have our
Hmm.
own little universe in the book world when it comes to speeds and narrators. And like these folks know a lot of things. It's a whole different universe in the audio
Hmm.
world. So I couldn't wait to get an audio narrator on the show to talk about the ins and outs of the audio world.
And you can listen to it in your car, on the go.
Anywhere.
Hmm.
So on the advanced side, I'm even to a point now when I'm in the gym working out or I'm running, I'm playing the
Hmm.
audio book versus like music. Cause music, the normal thing is music. It took me a
Right.
while to be able to get to a point where I can lift, and I'm playing an audio book. I'm getting through the content.
Yeah. You know, side note though, when I go to, well, I haven't been to the gym in a long time, but when I used to go to the gym, I had to work out to music and it had to have a certain tempo to it. I my favorite exercise is the stairmaster, and I literally do it to a beat. So I'll do one, two, three, pause, one, pause, two, because the stairs have to come back down. So I literally do it to a beat. But you look at the other people that's on the other stairmasters next to me, and they're like they can't wait to get off because they're trying to watch the TV or something. But it's something up, and I don't just listen to the audio. I like to watch a music video because you see the dancers dancing, and you really get into it. I don't even realize how much I'm sweating and how much of a workout I'm getting because I'm so into the song and the beat, and I'm moving to the beat. It's the best workout. I don't think I could listen to an audiobook when I work out because it's just something about the beat and music that just kind of takes my mind off the intensity of the workout.
No, what you said just now is a great a health tip on the Show Up experience. The first time, this is a great health tip because it is a psychological game you're playing. Like
Yes.
even whenever I'm doing boxing workouts or something, I'm doing it to a beat. I might do certain things for the verse, and then for the hook, I might rest, and then for the verse, I'm doing something. So I'm trying to find ways to oscillate back and forth. But the music is taking my mind off of pain and the sweat and the
Hmm.
hot. I'm uncomfortable. My lungs are
Yes.
burning. The song taking me somewhere else, right? Now
Yes.
on the audiobook side, I would say it took me a while to work up to playing the
Hmm.
audiobook while I'm in the gym, but my life is so busy and compact now. I figure like, wait a minute, I'm in the gym for 2 hours anyway. I can get 2 hours of audio done on a six
Hmm.
hour book versus me not doing
Hmm.
it. That's how I started
And the
kind of like feeling like, you know what, I can get this audio book knocked out.
and the great thing about an audiobook, you don't have to sit there and read it. It's being read to you. You could wash dishes, you could clean the house, and still get to enjoy your book.
See, I think on the initial level with audiobooks, a person
Mm,
initial thought is, I gotta. I was like that too. I gotta sit here
mm,
intently and hear every single little word being said, every little whatever. But like you underestimate your subconscious mind, how powerful the
mhm.
the processor is. You're
Right.
catching things more than what you think. So if you
Mhm.
playing something, you washing dishes, and you're doing something else, if I ask you about what you probably heard, you probably can tell it back to me. You probably can tell me
Mhm.
roughly what it's about, what's happening, what's going on. So the more
Mhm.
I realized that, it gave me more and more trust. Like I can just put it on and I'm doing other stuff. I'm still
Mhm.
catching what I need to catch.
Right.
Right?
And the great thing about audiobooks too, you have people acting the characters. It's not just being read to you. So you get to, it's like an experience. You get to feel, you
Yeah.
know.
Now see, I didn't even plan on going there today with you, but you just did it. So now this is on you. But like I get excited talking about it because it's not talked about enough. And Audibles,
Hmm.
for an example, they got so many platforms. But you're
Hmm.
right. I'm playing this book last month by James Patterson, but it was a
Hmm.
story with Sanaa Lathan doing the narration. Still
Hmm.
one of the characters. Because like you said, they have it now to where it's a full out cast.
Yes.
This is like hearing a movie. And they got
Acting.
sound
Hmm.
effects, they got gunshots, they got
Hmm.
cars driving off, you got bombs blowing up. It
It's
was
like
kind of a cop story.
it's like a movie without
Yeah.
this with the imagery.
Yes,
You
that's
get
what it
the
is.
sound.
Yes. I mean, like, I think a person that's not playing audio have no idea what it's about. They have no
Right.
idea the level of that, right?
Right. And a lot of people that get into audiobooks, once they listen to their first one, they're literally hooked. Like
Yes.
they
And
love
see,
it so much.
I have to say this too, right? When audiobooks kind of first came out years ago,
Mhm.
it kind of was kind of like dry and boring and like the clear eye
Right.
commercial,
Mhm.
you don't realize a few things. I love, and this is not good for you and your job security, right? But I'm gonna just say it. I love enough for authors reading their own book. Because to
Mhm.
me, nothing like that person read it the way they meant it, how
The
they
way they
wanted to
meant
put
to
that
say.
punctuation, that emphasis. Like,
Right.
I love whenever people read their own stuff. That's a
But you
way
know,
different view.
behind the scenes though, some authors do tell you, hey, I would like it if you could do the mother's voice a little deeper. I'd like it if you do the daughter's voice a little more innocent, or
Yeah,
you sometimes
yeah,
you do get direction. Thankfully for me, I've never got direction with the books I've narrated. People just let me do what I want, but
yeah.
some
That's a
authors
blessing.
do that. So
Yeah.
it's in exactly how they intended for it to sound.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
Mhm.
I love the folks doing their own voice, but also, like we just said, it's theatrical now. It wasn't always like
Right,
that. So they got
right.
gunshots and explosions, and you got fight
Mhm.
scenes. I mean, a lot is
Mhm.
happening more now. One of my homegirls, I love her work. Her name is Mary. She's an independent author like myself, right? But she got incredible work.
Mhm.
Whenever they talk about a car and they drive into the club, you hearing the music in the background, like they in the club, and it sound like car speakers. The
Yes.
way it would sound like with the wind blowing when you driving through the highway. Like I'm loving that. It's
Yes.
so in the story whenever all that's happening.
It's literally a movie on the go.
A movie on. See, I should title this whole podcast, man. A movie on the go. That's today's. That just happened, y'all, in real time. A movie on the go. Right? But let me get to some of your story, man. Tell us. I'm curious. How did you find yourself in the world of audio narration? What was the light bulb moment? Like, you know what? I'm gonna try this audio thing. How did that happen?
Well, I would say my story is probably very different from a lot of people's story, but I'm gonna keep it real with you. Um, I had lost my job of 12 years after the pandemic, and I had to do something, and I had to do it now. Like it just couldn't wait. And I had a YouTube channel, like I was telling you before. But hey, Miss Kaya, how are you? I had a YouTube channel, but with YouTube, I had just started. I was only 10 videos in. And with YouTube, you have to at least be on there for 2 years to see something, financially, happen for you. You have ads, you have what do you call it? Sponsors and things like that, but that usually doesn't come until you put a lot of work in. And I didn't have that time. I needed something right now. So I did a Google search and a YouTube search on side hustles to see what would come up because I was looking for a job, but I needed something immediately, right? Thank you, Kaya. And so what I did was I researched side hustles on YouTube and on Google. And I came across this YouTube video that spoke of audiobook narration. Now, I knew about audiobook narration as far as, like a self-help book or something like that. I even knew that they did voiceovers for like YouTube videos and things, but I had no idea that they had a whole world of audiobooks for novels that I like to read, like whole characters, like people playing characters, man, woman, child, changing up your voice and all of that. I said, what? Like when I found out that was a whole thing, I was hooked because I've always had a knack for acting. Um, I will trick someone, call someone to act like a telemarketer or something like that. And really trick people. And so, but I didn't know. I said to do this as a profession and get paid for it, like I'm definitely interested in that. So that's how I got started actually in audiobooks back in 2020. And so, you know, I did my first audition, and the author that I auditioned for, she really liked my work, and she asked me if I can do her series, her book series, two more books for her. So I signed three contracts on my first audition to begin
Wait a
with.
minute. You started off like that?
I started off like that. It
Man,
was
that's
crazy.
crazy. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, that's how it started off for me. And so it was just kind of, I didn't really have to audition after that. I was getting authors coming to me. And so it's kind of, I don't know if it's like a word of mouth thing or like the website that I was on was ACX. So I think ACX kind of promotes you when they see you're posting like samples on your page. I posted a few on my page. So, and I had quite a few. I had more than they tell you to put up there. I just kept posting any little or any my auditions I posted up there because even the books that I got picked for, I still auditioned so they can hear what I would sound like on, the first chapter.
So you're saying the word audition a few times now. For all of
Right.
us lay people, could you please explain to us what that is, what that entails, how that goes? I mean,
So I got started on the website acx.com. And on this website, you build your profile, your name, they're going to ask information about you. And then you would then go to audition for books that you like. The great thing about ACX, they have categories. So let's say I want to do a romance novel, I want to play a woman, or I want to do a children's book and be a child. There's so many different avenues you could go into. You could do fantasy, romance, self-help books. There's different categories to get into. And you can also choose what kind of voice you want to do. So they'll actually you want to do goofy, quirky, um, feminine, masculine,
see,
childish.
this is why you're on the show. And this is why I say it's selfish because, like, I knew roughly about the site. I've gone
Hmm.
to it. I made a profile years ago, during the pandemic, actually. I
Hmm.
just never, like, dug into it deeply. I never really, like, went in too deep with it to know it goes that niche like that. That's interesting.
Yes. That's the one thing I do love about it. You can narrow down exactly what book you want. So let's say it starts off with 5,000 books that's of authors that's looking for their book to be narrated by a narrator. Every time I choose a new filter, I want it to be this voice, I want it to be this kind of book, whatever. It narrows it down. So it literally went from 5,000 to 500. Now it's 100. Now it's 50. So I can see exactly what I'm looking for, and I have to, scroll through a whole bunch of books that I'm not interested in.
Now, this is a question I had planned for later, but like we're here now, so let's do it. So I ask
Mhm.
you on your side, because I know that they gotta pick you for the audition. Say, yeah, I want
Right.
that voice, right? But on your side, how do you pick a project out of all those books? How do you say, you know
Right.
what, that right there?
So for me personally, I'll read what the description is about, see what the book is about. That story sounds interesting. The cover captures me as well. I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover all the time because some books that have a boring looking cover can be hot stuff. Like you got to check it out. But I do look at the cover, And a lot of authors need to realize that too. The cover matters. It's not all about the content that's inside. That cover matters because that's what
Wow,
grabs the attention
wow.
of.
So I tell my friends
That's
all the time.
Sorry, Jonathan. That's probably the first thing. That's the first thing you look at before you even read the description is the cover.
I tell my friends all the time. Whoever made that phrase a long time ago, that if you
Hmm.
can't judge a book by its cover and all that, I don't know what they were thinking about because human nature. That first few seconds when I see, oh man, what's that?
Hmm.
That made me
Not
even
only,
want to read the synopsis and whatnot. If the cover not good, I'm not reading the synopsis and the back of the book and
hmm
I ain't picking it up.
even in dating, they say don't judge a book by its cover. Oh,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
we're visual creatures. The first thing we're
Yeah.
gonna do is see the person before we get to know their personality. So that judging the book by its cover thing,
I
that
don't
cover
care.
matters
You got a good heart and you give to the church on Sundays and you
to
go
the
out with the
after
kids on Wednesday.
content.
I would never get to that part to even ask you that.
Right,
Unfortunately, it's how life is. We didn't make it.
right.
What it is. So in
Exactly.
the audio world in particular, because you can't
Hmm.
pick it up. It's not a physical book. That
Right.
cover is paramount in the audio world, I can imagine.
Yes. Very important that cover. And so, where was I?
I was asking you, like, out of 5,000 books, how do you narrow down? Like, you know what? I like this one right here. I feel that. I want to embody that.
Right. So that cover is what grabs my attention. I'll say, "Oh, what's that about?" And then I'll read the description of the book and say, "Okay, that sounds like something I would like to do." And then I'll go and look at the script. So every author uploads their script. So when you say audition, when you click audition, they have a script that you would have to read. Now, side note, with the audition, well, not really side note, but they they have a script for you to read, but you're not supposed to read the whole thing. I made that mistake so many times. I literally read the whole, not for audiobooks, because I've auditioned for IVRs and voiceover messages and other things in voiceover. But you're not supposed to read the whole thing because see what can happen, Jonathan? Not really for an audiobook, because you're really usually getting the first chapter with an audiobook. Audition. But let's say this is a little side note, like IVRs, which is, like we're not available at the moment, but if you leave a message, that kind of message,
What does IBR stand for? I never heard that
voice
before.
record, it's voice recording. I forgot what the I stands for.
Okay, no, I
But
never heard that before.
yeah, it's like those kind of messages. There's people that'll pay you to do these messages. And if you go ahead and record that whole,
Where do you find that?
so there's voices.com, there's voices123, there's fiverr.com, and these different places you
Bruh,
can
bruh,
create gigs.
my God. We finished doing this show. I'm about to watch this whole thing back. Keep on name dropping. I'm gonna take notes. We finished this show. Oh my God. Keep it going. I'm listening.
The voice realm is another one that you can. So the great thing that I do love about these websites as opposed to ACX, I'm gonna get back to ACX in a second, but these websites, they let the author or whoever's hiring this voice actor, they hire you, they pay the website, and then the website pays you. As opposed to ACX, you have to go ahead and record that whole audiobook, and then the author pays you for it, which I think is kind of backwards, because if they decide, oh, hey, I didn't get my tax return like I thought I was going to get,
Right.
I can't pay you right now. Like, what do you mean? It's like the
So
book is
it's
done,
it's an
so
actual negotiation with you and the author before you even start, or that's all backside.
say that again. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I apologize. It's an actual negotiation with you and the author before you even start.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
look,
me.
you audition. I picked you. I love your voice.
Right.
Read my book.
Me personally, I like to contact the author just to see where they're at because I don't want to go ahead and audition for something that you already picked someone for but didn't update your page, you know. So I always say, "Hello, how are you? I would like to audition for your book. Are you still taking auditions?" I'll say something like that, and then I'll audition for the book. Interactive voice response. Thank you. See, I was wrong. It's not
This is why I
voice
love the
recording,
chat.
it's voice response.
This is why I love the chat. And the
Thank
chat be
you,
chatting. Thank
guys.
y'all very much. I appreciate y'all in the chat. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
I forgot. You see, I forgot, right, Miss Kaya?
No,
I
you're
got the
doing
whole
good.
thing wrong.
You're doing good. You're giving us a lot of information already. Keep going.
And so yeah, that's the great thing. They do uh, take the money from these people that want to hire the narrator, and then when your work is done, that website pays you. So you don't have to worry about, will I get my money? Will I not? You know, you'll definitely get it once you're done.
Let's be hypothetical. Very hypothetical. So
Hmm.
for IVR work, for
Hmm.
example, what's some of the price ranges, some of the possibilities out there? For those that's just listening and you're a novice that's curious about it, what's some of the possibilities out
Now the thing is, you can set any price you want. You can say
there? What's on
the
you?
thing is you do it by word, right? You make your own price, but you set it by word. So let's say you say $10. Oh, not sorry, not wait, no, it is word. Yeah, you set it by word. Let's say you wanted $10 a word. That's a lot of that's a
Don't
lot of
tell me
money,
that. Don't tell me that.
right?
I already
But
talk a lot. Don't tell me that. I'm gonna run it
so
up. I'm gonna run it up.
so So let's say like mine is set up for my IVR right now. I'm thinking. I think it's set up to every 50 words is $5 because, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm just starting out with these other websites, so you want to really put a low price because you're in competition with people that's been doing this for longer than you, and you want to get your name out there. So when you're first starting out, you might want to start low just so you can get those initial reviews from people that you know you've done work for. And then once you get the reviews, you get the recognition, then you can put your prices higher.
They said yesterday's price is not today's price. In
Right.
fact, yesterday's price. Yeah.
I understand my price was $5 yesterday, ma'am. I understand, but today it's five
It's
thousand
going up.
dollars.
I just had some
Okay.
5-star reviews last night, and based on these reviews, you know what I'm talking about? We got to renegotiate.
That's what it is today.
Yeah. You know, it can be next week. We gonna find out next week. We gonna find out next week. No, so wow, you are really giving us a lot to chew on because my show is always geared toward my audience. If they're
Hmm.
high school kids, they're college people, they're young adults trying to get their
Hmm.
foot in the writing or whatever. I love the background business of these industries that people never heard about. I never
Yes.
thought. I never knew about none of this. What you're saying, I never heard none of this. So this is
I
powerful.
I learned a lot coming into the business too,
Okay,
you
this
know.
is good. This is good. So, what do you wish you knew before you started? In hindsight, like I mean, I wish I would have known about that. I wish I would have known that.
I wish I would have known. And this is what I would tell newcomers coming into this business, like new narrators. Starting off, get your money up front. Don't do no royalty share. So they have that's another thing with ACX, they have royalty share. And the thing is there's a lot of scamming going on. I didn't know there was any kind of scamming going on. Like, how do you scam? Like, you do the work, you get paid for it. But no, it don't work like that. So let me explain the scamming. You'll have a lot of authors out here. Mind you, once I took royalty share off my page and I put that per finished hour, it's kind of been crickets. There's a lot of authors that are out here looking for newcomers that don't understand the business, want to narrate a book, or just a author comes to you, can you narrate my book? Oh my gosh, an author just asked me to narrate their book. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're all excited. You think this is the greatest thing, but this author has uh they have a ulterior motive here. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna get you to narrate my book. Okay, and what you don't know is that when this book drops, you ain't getting a dime because I'm not going to market this book. That's a lot of that is happening. And it's horrible. It's absolutely
So,
evil.
but before it even happens, is there?
hmm
How do we vet? How do we vet these authors?
I'm about to tell
On
you.
the bad side, how do you protect yourself? Like, okay, in writing, you got copyrights and stuff, right? I can say, look,
Right.
copyright, legality. How do you protect yourself in the audio realm?
I had to learn this the hard way, Jonathan. So the thing is, when, like I said, I explained how to search for the book you want to narrate, right? You want to make sure that the book you're going to, that you're interested in is ranking. So you could check the book description, check their ranking. If they're ranking very, very high, that means if you search that book or if you search that genre, literally that book is going to be on the 5 millionth page. And I'm just exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. It's not going to be on the first, second, third page. It's going to be on the 5 millionth page, meaning it's never going to be found. Okay. And that means they're not marketing their stuff more than likely if they're not ranking high. They're not really, ranking in any category, and they're definitely ranking very high. So that's an issue right there. If you see they don't have any other audiobooks and you want to create an audiobook for them, definitely, just because they're a bestseller or they have other books that are really selling, that does not say anything for your audiobook, because they can go ahead and market their physical books but not market your audiobook. And the thing with royalty share, if you don't market that book, I don't get paid. If nobody knows that book exists, I don't get paid for my hard work. And that's what happens with
Let's,
royalty share.
let's do this
hmm
real quick, if you can. We put the veil back, right? So I know
hmm
as an author, because this is still dealing with Amazon, right? The ACX, it's still Amazon
Right.
product. So
Amazon owns ACX. hmm
as an author, it is not necessarily advantageous for me to go have my books on Amazon because they're going to take 60%, 70%, whatever they
Oh
want.
gosh, the
So
percentage is crazy
as a
that they take.
self-published author, I'm way better off selling books on my own page, my own website, my whatever. Now my
Yeah.
books are available on Amazon, but I don't really
Right.
promote Amazon. You can find it there, but you better off
Right.
getting it from me directly versus going to Amazon. So my question for you in the audio world, like what are some of the percentages on ACX?
The percentage is on.
On the ACX?
What do you mean?
Like the royalty shares. What's the percentage on that? Like is it like
Oh, okay. So royalty share, you get a cut, the author gets a cut, ACX gets a cut, Audible gets a cut, and who else? Audible, ACX, Amazon. That's five different. You got to split that five different ways.
come on, bro?
And the book and the book costs like $20 or less.
That's my
So
point. That's my point. I was gonna say. That's my point.
you $4.
Come on. So okay, let's do this.
Sorry, Jonathan, if that, because some books are cheaper than
Yeah,
$20.
man, especially a self-published author is probably gonna have their books lesser than like like I said, a James
Exactly.
Patterson or
Right.
Eric Jerome Dickey, somebody that's up
hmm
there. Self-pub probably gonna be more on the low end just because
Right.
you trying to get to the game. Was like you said, you trying to get to the game. So
hmm
yeah, you splitting $15, $12, 4, 5, 6 ways, man. It's just what are we doing? What are we
And
doing?
see, a lot of people, they look at audiobooks like, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. Why is it so expensive? Because a lot of work goes into it. It
Yes,
it
yes.
it's deeper than writing. Well, I'll get into that later on, what goes into the audiobooks. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work. Yeah. Oh
Sure.
yeah. Kaya.
And
Mhm.
this is why, as an artist, I did
Mhm.
3 of my books myself, and I had my own thing set up to where a person come to me directly. You want the book? With our thing,
Mhm.
you got the book. I got paid.
Mhm.
I probably made a lot more money doing that versus the actual physical or the Kindle
Right.
product because
Oh yeah.
I was able to keep. things in house versus
Exactly.
putting up four, five,
Right.
6 million. I was there to keep it to
Right.
myself. I paid the
No,
engineer for the studio time, and after that, it
hmm
was all. And I was in the green after that.
Now, some authors may think, I don't want to do this ACX. I don't want to, I'd rather just pay this narrator up front and then go about my day. But it can be beneficial with royalty share. Let me tell you why. Like I told you how I got started in audiobooks, I'm going to tell you why I was trying to do royalty share as opposed to getting my money up front. I thought royalty share would be a good way to make passive income while I'm working on other books. I can, get paid off of these books and I can put more time into audiobooks as opposed to going out working 8 hours and then coming home and not having that much time to work on audiobooks. So that was my goal, to put out a certain amount of books and do royalty share on those books and just have that the royalties coming in to help me pay bills and everything. But it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way because that royalty share, I'm telling you, some people are just not honest, you know? Some people don't treat people the way they want to be treated. I know me, if I was an author and I'm hiring a narrator to narrate my book, I'm gonna want that narrator to get paid for her hard work. I'm
Yes.
not gonna go ahead and say, okay, well, you did my audio, I got my audio. What you looking at me for? Bye. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. That's heartless and evil. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are doing business like that. They're literally going to ACX looking for new narrators that don't understand the business, don't understand. Hey, I don't have any other audiobooks out here, so you don't have any other audiobooks to look at to say that I sell audiobooks, and so you can tell that I'm marketing audiobooks. If there's no paper trail for me to look at, and I can see, okay, well, you have other audiobooks out there that have thousands of reviews. Thousands of reviews means more than thousands of sales. So we could see it selling, and the reason it's selling because you're marketing this. It's not gonna sell itself. So that's one thing you do have to look out for, like I was saying before, Jonathan. Look at reviews, make sure they have a lot of reviews, make sure that's a good way to tell if they're making sales. And look at the ranking. If they're ranking low, that means you'll be more likely to find their book in search, and customers will be able to find the book to buy it. And so I didn't do my research on that in particular. I did my research, but I didn't know about the scamming, so I was blindsided by that. And
You would ever think that in the
literally have
audio.
have books, and I don't want anyone to end up like me and have books that are just not being marketed. And literally, I do the recording, I do the editing, I do the mixing and the mastering because I have an engineering background. So I don't have a team. I do everything myself. So to put all that hard work in, and I mean, I literally go the extra mile. I will sing in your book. I will put effects in your book. I will stack vocals to make it sound like it's different people talking at once. I will. I've harmonized. I go the extra mile. I like to put space things a certain way so it sounds more conversational. A lot of people are not doing all that extra work because it takes time away from doing other things. But I take that time. So to take that time and really put that work in and not get paid for it, I wouldn't want anyone to go through that. So definitely starting out, get your money up front. They have two different options on ACX. You can either go through royalty share, as I mentioned, which you don't want to do starting out, unless the author is a prominent author with a whole bunch of reviews on their audiobooks they already have out. Then you could tell, okay, they do market their stuff. I would do good doing a royalty share project with this author. But get your money up front. Do the per finished hour. That's your
Get your
best bet starting out.
get your bread, get your bread, right?
Get your
So
bread.
I know for most of us in most industries, whenever you go into it, you look at a certain person like, man, I admire that person, I look up to that person, I love their work, whatever it might be. Who are some
hmm
people in the audio world when you came like, I'm admiring them, I want to get a little bit of this, I want to get a little bit of that out of this person. Who is that for you in audio?
Jacoby, Jacoby DM.
That's the main name I hear.
Yeah, because
Main
he's
name.
dope. He's dope. Like I he really draws you in with his characters, you know? And the way he switches up his voice, he'll play like five different men in one chapter, and you literally know who's who every time he changes up his voice. He doesn't have to say Pierre said or Javier said. You know who he just changed his voice to because he's just that good, you know. And so yeah, he Jacoby all day.
I got 100 down for the show, man. I've been 2 or 3 years hearing the name. When we were in the audio book circle talking about narrators,
Uh-huh.
that's like Michael Jordan, like Jacoby,
Yes.
like man,
He is.
Jacoby,
He is.
off the
Yes.
top. I gotta
Yep.
find the brother. If anybody got
He
contact, tell them how
he
that's your boy.
earned that. He
Yeah, yeah,
earned
yeah. Sure, sure,
that title.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
So okay, let me get into the actual work. Let's talk about the work. High school
Mhm.
kid, college kid watching this podcast. How do I get started? Like, what's the equipment that I need? Because I know on YouTube you can find 1,000 videos. There's
Yeah.
a million microphones and
Mhm.
setups. Tell us your best advice on the setup. Let's do
Mhm.
bare bones, right? First,
Mhm.
you ain't got a lot of money. Bare bones setup, what you need to record.
So starting out, your best bet will probably be a USB mic because they are cheap, and you can find a dynamic or a condenser a USB mic. They have different options out there. I'll explain the difference between dynamic mics and condenser mics. But yeah, starting out, USB mics they hook right up. What I can't see that. Is that what is that?
It's a
I
USB
can't.
mic. It's a USB mic.
Oh, blue. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
really good. That's a really good. What do they call that? The snowball.
Mobile. That's
Mic.
right. Mobile.
Right.
Mobile. Mobile. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Fast.
really good. For podcasting, those are good. Yeah, very good. Brand blue. So yeah, so starting out, I would say a USB mic, you can hook it up directly to your PC. You don't need an audio interface or like a cloud lifter to make the audio louder. You can get a pretty good signal with dynamic mics. Dynamic mics are cheaper than condenser, which is great too. So I'm going to explain the difference between condensers and dynamic mics. Dynamic mics are cheaper than condenser mics, but they pick up what's right in front of the mic. So you have mics that pick up, like I have different mics. So I have dynamic mics and condenser mics. Condenser mics will pick up what's right in front of it, which is better for voiceover because you don't want a whole bunch of outside noise getting into your recording. You were going to say something?
I was going to ask you how many mics do you have? My more recent question for my narrators: how many mics you have?
Well, I do music too. So I have a recording studio and then I have my audiobook studio. Um,
You
I
fancy, huh?
have
You
fancy.
fancy. You fancy.
I have the SM7, that old one. I have the SM7B. I have the AKG. Oh gosh, what is that? The AKG. Mm, forgot the number. It's a $400 bike. I don't remember the number off the head, but I have that, and then I have another USB mic. I forgot the brand. It's a cheap brand that I started off with my audiobook. So I have four mics right now, I think. If
Yeah,
we're not counting my lapel mic. Because
yeah,
I have one of those too, a Sony.
my partner in crime, Kofi, my co-author, my brother, he got a bunch of mics. He a music guy too, and everything else. This dude buying mics all the time, mics, lights, cameras. I mean, he just, but
Go
but the thing about it on a serious note is about the importance of investing in yourself. Because I do want
right,
you to tell somebody like how to start off bare bones, but ultimately you want to invest in your business, raise up your
right.
sound quality and the sharpness because you get those better auditions. You get the better auditions and you get better opportunities the more professional you sound.
Right. My nose.
Oh no, it's
Sorry,
all
my
good.
nose
Man.
was stuffy.
Hey, it's that time of year. It's spring season.
I said I have to blow my nose. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. This is life.
Oh gosh.
You see my
That's why
camera going on every once in a while. I'm blowing my nose, so we all right. It's spring
I was
season.
like, get
Allergies.
it under control. And then I just couldn't control.
Yeah, it's all good, man. But no, I just tell the folks about the importance of investing in your business, investing in yourself.
Right.
Be real
Hmm.
serious about the profession of you. You got to step up at some point.
Actually, the mics that I've bought, or any equipment that I upgraded in my audiobook, well, in my audio recording for audiobooks, I used the money that I made from the books that I did to invest it back into, making more money, better
So
sounding equipment.
that's how any
Yeah.
business should work. You use the money from the
Right.
business. You don't dip in your work money. You dip into,
Right.
I do the same thing on my side.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
So besides mics, what else you need for a good setup to do audio narration? They got software to like mix and master and stuff.
So, like I was explaining before, the difference between condenser mics and dynamic mics. Again, dynamic mics are cheaper than condenser mics. Condenser mics, you can get well, dynamic mics, you could just hook it up to your computer. You don't need a interface to connect it to. But condenser mics, you do need an interface to kind of bump up the signal because it does have a wider dynamic range, a wider frequency. But the thing is, with condenser mics, um, it does have a low signal until it goes through an audio interface. And then once you put it through the audio interface, when I say it picks up everything, it'll pick up noise from outside. It'll pick up noise from down the street. You'll hear dogs barking. You'll hear people blowing their horns. Like, it picks up everything. But this is what gives it that crisp sound. Certain mics, it picks up every um, you know character in your voice. You you'll get that with a condenser mic, but they are more expensive. And a lot of people like them because they do pick up everything and gives you that nice crisp sound in your voice. But if you don't have a quiet studio to record in, it's not your best bet. If you don't have the luxury of a booth or somewhere to go that's really quiet, then your best bet would be to get a dynamic mic until upgrade your studio. But like I said, with dynamic mics, you could just talk into it and it'll just pick up your voice. It's not picking up everything else in the background. And that's perfect for voiceover because you get noise in your recording. Either you can take it out, but it's gonna take you a lot of editing to get it out, or you just will have to record it over. So it's best to
And
just have a quiet background.
I was gonna go into that. When you mentioned earlier getting paid per finished hour, that
Hmm.
means not just recorded but mixed, mastered, edited,
Right.
that kind of a finished hour.
So this is what per finished hour means. Okay, per finished hour means an hour of recording. So if the book is 8 hours, one of those hours. But one finished hour, weeks can go into a finished hour of audio. Like days, a whole week could go into one finished hour. It depends on if you're using effects, if how long these chapters are. Some of these books are very, very long. Like
Yes,
some of these
yes.
chapters are like over a half an hour. And so that, a lot goes into that. Is your chapter is more than likely going to be longer than it's actually supposed to be because you're going to make mistakes. We're human. You're going to have to edit those out. So what should have been a half an hour recording is really over an hour. And you have to narrow that down. Take your mistakes out, take out any breaths or whatever. But You can also practice breathing exercises, which saves a lot of time because if you don't breathe, if you don't have the breath at all, then you don't have that's one thing less to have to worry about editing when it's all done. And so what I do is take a deep breath, read for like a paragraph, and it's so much that goes into this, Jonathan. There's a such thing as sight reading, okay? That you have I had to master this with audiobooks. You're not reading a book regularly like you would regularly read a book. It's not like that. I have to know what's on line 2 before I get there, before I read it. My eyes have to had already seen it. And by the time I'm reading line 2, my eyes are now on line 3 before I say it. So literally, it's like, okay, I do a scroll with my eyes, and then my mouth says what I just scrolled across because now I'm looking at the next one. It's crazy. Like,
Can
it's
you please
hard.
go? Can you please go into a little elaboration on that, please? That's crazy, right
That it's hard to do. But once you master that, your reading gets faster and you'll make less mistakes. You want to make less mistakes because editing those mistakes out ain't no joke. Editing is more work than recording. Like I prep for recording. I There's a whole bunch. I know you're probably gonna ask me that. So I don't know if you want to know that now.
there? Go ahead and give it to me. Let me get it.
Oh. So prepping, I like to eat green apples because when we talk, like I'm talking to you right now, there's probably you hear that mouth noise. You could barely hear it, right? But in an
I know what you mean.
audiobook
I know what you mean.
where people have headphones on and it's intimate. Oh, that is
Yeah,
very annoying. That
that
mouth.
wet mouth. That wet mouth.
Yes. So eating green apples helps with that. That's
So
the what I found
why
to be the best
green?
thing.
Why green apples specifically? Why not a red crisp apple?
It's the tartness of it. It kind of erases
Oh,
that in your mouth. Like it's not really stickiness, it's wetness. It kind of just makes your mouth less wet. So yeah, that oh, you heard it, Brian? It's not pleasant. So yeah, it that green apple has really truly helped me. So that's one less thing to worry about. So I already explained breathing exercises. You take a deep breath, then you read your paragraph, doing sight reading at the same time. Okay, so you can make less mistakes because if I don't know what's on line 3 and I'm already on line 2, by the time I get to line 3, there's a big word, I stumble, because I wasn't prepared. And so your eyes have to see it before you say it. I know it sounds like, how the heck are you going to do that? But it takes a lot of practice. But once you get it, you got it, and it really helps you to make less mistakes. So you have that sight reading, which helps you make less mistakes. You have the take a deep breath before you read a paragraph, and then you could take another deep breath before you read another paragraph. That helps you to not stop and breathe because you'll have to edit those breaths out. This is if you don't, some people have editors to edit their audiobooks, which is great because all you have to worry about is recording. So that's great.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I mentioned going to an engineer whenever I did my audio books. I went to a
Mm-hmm.
person, they had never recorded audiobooks before, but they
Wow.
had a large music background to understand how
Mm-hmm.
to punch in. When I miss a word up, I go right back to that, right there. I'm going right here, and stopping, editing. They can
Mm-hmm.
do all of that. I just need to worry about the actual what I'm reading, and then I was able to be done with
That's
that.
the
So,
best. Yeah,
but
that's the
doing the
best when
bare
you don't have to
bones is
worry
yourself once again. So this is a good
about it.
lesson.
Because editing is a lot of work. And then if you're someone like me who is OCD, I just like things a particular way. And yeah, nobody ain't gonna hear that sound, but I can hear it. So let me get it out. I'm so particular about things, which makes the editing take much longer than it should because I'm very particular. But yeah, so I mentioned mouth noise and how to prevent that with green apples. And then you can prevent um, mouth sounds, I'm sorry, breathing with taking a deep breath before you read. And then what are other things to worry about? mistakes, which you could practice sight reading to help make less of those. And that will make your editing go faster.
So a part of your ritual and your routine is a recording day. What's a recording day like for audio narrator, narrating audio books? Like, do you drink certain tea? Do you, you eat certain things? But besides apples, you doing something else? Like, what's that like?
Well, some people do drink tea because it kind of smooths out your vocal cords. Yeah. But I don't drink, well, I do drink herb tea, but not particularly. What editing software I use Audacity. Audacity's free. So anybody could just go ahead and download that. You don't even have to worry about, but I have paid software too, but I love Audacity because of the layout and how I can make shortcuts for what I need. It's just the workflow of it I like. So that's why I use it as opposed to my, oh gosh, my battery. 1 second.
Go ahead, handle your business. And while you starting up, batterying up, how did you get proficient at Audacity? Because once again, I was curious about this stuff years ago. I went, as you saw, I bought a mic, right? I downloaded Audacity.
Oh,
I got into it. I
okay.
set it
Okay.
up. What do you think?
I'm sorry.
I'm just talking.
Can you
You're good.
still
You're good.
see
You're good.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, so how would I turn this sideways without being like upside down?
Let me see.
Like this thing literally just like
And you
I
flip.
started on 100. I don't know how I get down to 15. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
You good.
Oh boy, how am I going to do this? Give me 1 second.
Hell your business. I'm gonna keep talking.
Okay.
So for a small commercial break, while my sister getting straight on the background, man. For those that's tuning in, come right back here on Thursday afternoon at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. I have Dr. Imani Perry. We are talking about her book, May Forever We Stand, about the Black National Anthem, and you don't want to miss it. James Weldon Johnson is the writer of the Black National Anthem. So it's all about how he created it, why he created it, and how that's been used over decades in most of our black ceremonies, right? So tap in Dr. Imani Perry on Thursday. Our commercial break. You good, my sister?
Now I'm crooked.
No, you actually you're okay. You're okay now. You good.
Oh god.
I know you OCD, but you good.
Long as it's on the charger, I'm not trying to die on you now.
Yeah. You good. Yeah. You good. We ain't tripping. It's showing people it's you at home. You good. So the brother asked about the editing software, right? I wanted to know, how did you get proficient at Audacity?
So I've been using this kind of software since I was 14. My first beat making software I got when I was, well, that's off topic, but I started out with beat making software. I got my first one at 16. They used to call it
But
um
you had Fruity Loops and all that, Fruity Loops and
before FL Studio. Before
okay.
FL Studio. Yeah, it was Fruity Loops, but what is the name? Oh my god. Okay. So I had Fruity Loops from Fruity Loops 1, from the very first one. I'm trying to remember. Sonar. Okay, so Sonar was the first software I got, but they didn't call it Sonar when it first came. Cakewalk. That's what it was called. Cakewalk Music Creator. So it was Cakewalk before it turned into Sonar. That was my first beat making software. So that was my first time really using a DAW, which Audacity is considered a DAW, a digital audio workstation. So I started off with that. And once you know one, you pretty much know them all. You make the beat and then you add the audio to it. It's the same thing, the layout. So I was familiar with that from using Sonar. I've used Adobe Audition, and Audacity is pretty much, you use that too?
Yeah, I have played with it. I'm not proficient, but I've seen it. I've played with it. I've been inside the suite, if you will. I know what you're talking
Yeah, so I've used that. And Audacity, I really like the layout. It's very simple. I like simple. I
Me
don't
too.
need a whole bunch of gadgets. Just get straight to the point. I
Yeah,
like that. It just
yeah.
makes it more comfortable to work with. So I really do like Audacity and the layout of it.
So we covered the microphones. We covered rituals and practices to prevent things. Right. Let's just
Cover
ask
all of
you, ma'am.
Did we cover everything on microphones?
We
Yeah.
discussed different. We discussed different types of microphones and uses
Right. I
and
think I
prices.
think one thing I wanted to add was audio interfaces.
Okay.
I don't know if I spoke of that. So like condenser mics, they do take a audio interface to connect it to kind of bump up the signal. And so and you might even need a cloud lifter besides that audio interface to bump it up even more. Cloud lifters are just that extra to add to the audio interface. So the mic would go into the cloud lifter goes into the audio interface then goes into your PC. That's the hookup. And it just gives you a really
Wow.
crisp
Okay.
sound,
Okay.
real loud and crisp. Without having to blow your speakers, it bumps up the sound for you so you don't get any kind of distortion.
No, thank you for all the tips and tricks and equipment. Like this has been a very 411 like I wanted. This is what I actually wanted when I came approach you. I wanted all the inside 411 like this, man. So I wanted to ask you about the actual studio, if you will. I see different things, getting the eggshell looking things, and they have things. They got a little box, right? They got a microphone inside the box. They got a little box setup. I've seen that before. What's your
Uh-huh.
setup
I'm
like?
gonna I'm gonna give me 1 second. I have to close the extra app on here because my phone is hot and it's blinking red. I've never experienced this before. Like
Okay.
we said, things happen, right?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Give me
Yeah,
1 second.
yeah, do your thing. I'll do another commercial.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
back. I
cool.
just had to
Okay, okay.
I just had to close the app, but it says unable to charge. Your phone's temperature is too high. Goodness gracious. Charging will continue.
Damn.
But the temperature
That's
returns
crazy.
to normal. Ugh.
That's crazy. Well, okay. How about this? How about this? I'll bring you back to do a part two follow up. Is that cool?
Oh, I
I don't
can't
want
do
you to
that for
feel.
you. Let's
I don't
let's
want you to
try to
feel
make it
part two. Okay.
let's try to make it through.
Okay. How much you got left, battery wise?
15%.
I feel pretty confident. I feel pretty confident.
Okay.
So let's do it like this. Let me fast forward a little bit. So we all know that AI technology is a big thing right now. So
Mm-hmm.
AI is a big thing in a lot of industries. The writing industry, the book covers. AI is pretty much removing humans out the whole equation. How do you feel about
Unfortunately.
AI? Yes. How do you feel about
I
AI?
think it's a bunch of BS, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because I'm a songwriter, okay?
Yes.
And you don't even need to be a songwriter to be a songwriter with AI, okay? You don't have to be a book writer to be a book writer with AI. And do you know who they're getting this AI from? People who are actually doing the work. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from the talented people and being given to non-talented people. And I think that's wrong. I think if you got it, you should use it. But if you don't have it, go pay somebody to give it to you. Don't go steal. Because AI, what they're doing is stealing people's work. They're stealing people's voices. It's a whole bunch of crookness that's going on there. They're stealing people's voices to use for AI. Those are people's voices, and people like I don't know. Just recently, these actors were very angry about the whole um I forgot it was something, but I think AI was involved where AI is taking their likeness, their voices, and trying to get work done without them, and that's just bullcrap, you know.
Yeah. I agree, especially like in the animated space, right? We didn't even mention that. We'll get to that another time, another day, I guess. But like the animated space where you have these voice actors animating TV shows and whatnot. But they could take
Mhm.
that voice and just do it without you at all, and they just had this character going for series. And you're not
Mhm.
involved in it, but your voice and
Right.
your likeness is there. You know.
Mhm. The Mr. LA asked the question, do I record
Okay.
audio on more than one
More than
device?
one device.
When you say that, do you mean more than one DAW, or because I record on my mic that goes into my computer, that goes into my DAW, and my DAW, the DAW that I use is Audacity. But no, I just have one setup that I use every time.
But
Hmm.
back to the AI right quick. 'Cause I don't want it to be like all negative, right? So, are there any pros to it that you do utilize? Like for me as a writer, I don't use it for my literal writing, right? But as far as
I don't
my
have any
content,
pros. I don't have any
yeah,
pros for it. I
but
think it's BS. I don't like it.
right. I don't use it for my writing, obviously, but as far as my content, as far as me
Hmm.
making videos, making clips, making reels, doing promotional things, it's a large advantage versus me sitting there clip by clip, making the
Right.
clip, putting the caption, doing this and that. They got tools I
Well,
can
that's
use to get
different.
those things done.
Right.
Right,
See, you're
right.
using it for a tool. You're not
Yes,
using it to get the
that's correct.
words that you want to say. That's coming from your
No,
mind. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes, yes,
Someone that's looking to write a song is not, hey,
no,
give me a song, AI. Write the song
no,
for me,
no.
AI. Like, come on.
And
Like,
I only presented that because I know in this conversation of AI,
mm-hmm,
people can either be very pro or very con, and they don't have
mm-hmm,
a gray in between where it's like, most folks are like, look, all AI, like, kill it, like, cut it, like, we don't need it. And then some
mm-hmm,
folks are pretty much like heavy on the, I try to be more in the gray where it's like, for these purposes, I can see it being utilized. Put it like that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just mentioned like audio narration for animated things, right? Tell some of the audience some of the various things that exist. You mentioned a few of them earlier in the audio space besides audio books. We got voiceover on commercials, obviously. You see these
Right?
Buffalo Wild Wings, Dick's
Mm-hmm,
Sporting Good Academy. They getting paid for that.
mm-hmm.
Super Bowls,
Oh, yes.
in the NFL games, NBA games,
Mm-hmm.
video games. I know some guys
Right.
they voiceover for Netflix, for Star Wars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm,
And those checks sounds nice when I hear about it. So
mm-hmm.
tell them what exists in the world of audio besides.
So there's a lot of different categories, usually for things like commercials and you know things you hear on TV, or it's usually you have to know someone who knows someone or have an agent, for that kind of pull, because that is where the big money is. But you have different genres of books that you can do, as well as different kinds of audio, like I mentioned before, the IVRs and uh, voice recordings for phone, the um, answering machines, things like that. What else they have? Um,
And I
YouTube
wanted to ask,
videos.
yes, yes. I wanted to ask because I want to make the audience realize some of the more simple things you're hearing in your day to day life. You're not thinking about it.
And you don't
Somebody,
realize
somebody,
there's a whole narrative behind it. Yes.
somebody got to pay the check. What you just
Right.
heard.
Hmm.
Well, I definitely love it. I appreciate your time and all your insight. Like, I don't normally watch all my videos back once I record them. I'm
Hmm.
definitely watching. I'm very, very curious about the world of audio. I do want to get myself in a position to get into that world in some kind of capacity, man. So you gave me a whole lot to chew on. I know my audience going to love it. Anybody seeing this in the future, totally enjoy it. And find the sisters' work, man. Tell them where they can find your work. Tell them some of the things you've done, some of the books you've read, and let's get you some reviews on the page, man. Help my
Thank
sister out.
you.
Yeah.
So I have three books out at the moment. I have A Heart at War. It's a love story. I have Carly's Story, Carly's story is a little deep. Carly's story is about a little girl who went through a lot of things and dealt with generational trauma with her mother that her mother went through and all types of, you know. So Carly's story is some people might have a hard time listening, but it's a really good story because there's a great ending. It's not sad or bad all the way through. There's such sunshine at the end of the yellow brick road. And what else? I have Loving All of Me. Loving All of Me is another love story, with a little drama in there. So I have three books out at the moment. I also I'm working on one at the moment, and then I have another one that I'm working on after that, and then there's another one coming out in September. That
Nice.
one is going to be a dual book. I'm doing it with two other narrators, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing so far. I'm on Instagram under Alexis Stewart Audiobooks,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
that's as far as social media. That's it right now. That just my
Gotcha.
Instagram page.
Gotcha. Let me give my customer opinion before we leave. So I was
Okay.
blessed to hear some of your audio work a few days ago, right? And I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell the audience right now that's listening, man. She has an amazing audio voice, and I was telling her in private, some narrators, it's like you kind of they make you want to like leave the book alone or put it down or like I'm done with this. I can't imagine hours of this, but her voice definitely draws you in. It's pleasant. She's doing different characters. Definitely believable the character she's doing. So salute to that and to the work, man. Get her work, support her work.
Yeah. Thank you. And what about are you done with your questions,
Yes, yes,
Jonathan?
I am. I am. Yes, ma'am. I am.
What about the audience? Is there any questions that you guys have for me? I don't
Okay,
want
here we
to
go.
leave anyone out.
Okay, okay. We love audience questions here on the Sean P Experience. I love my audience chiming in, tapping in.
And
I
I'm so
love it.
sorry for being crooked. I'm trying to turn my head, so I'm not.
No, don't do that. I don't want you to have a neck problem later. Like, no. We don't want no injuries
The
on the
room is
Sean P Experience.
crooked, but I'm trying to
We
turn
are,
my head so I'm not crooked.
we are not responsible for any injuries. We are not taking
Oh
responsibility.
gosh.
Okay, I got a question before we leave. You
Uh-huh.
mentioned your early acting experience. That's a strong advantage. I have that same thing in my background when I was recording. Um,
I actually don't have any acting experience, Jonathan.
but you mentioned acting. You had a knack for it.
I had a knack for it, but I've never gotten any acting classes or anything like that. It's just
Okay. You just
I
you
just
can do
got
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, some folks just blessed with it, right? Do you advise the audience like to get a vocal coach or acting coach or any other kind of additional training going into this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, so as far as training, you can get an acting coach if you feel like you might need to brush up on your acting skills. You can also do tongue twisters. Tongue twisters help you to read faster, and it helps you with those words that you might get stuck on. Like if a word is a little big, you'll be able to go right through it, and it'll help you with your sight reading as well to be able to, read line after line and act it. Because, like I said before, when you're doing an audiobook, you're not
And that
reading, you're acting what you're acting it. And so being able to sight read is very important because I'm acting as I read. And you know the crazy thing too? Oh, I meant to tell you how I prep. So I have to prep the book. I have to mark up the characters in the book. And so let's say this character is the wife and the next character is the husband, let's say, right? This character, I don't have to mark up what the wife is saying, but whoever she's speaking to. If someone else comes in and I see quotations and it's not her, I have to mark that up so I know, okay, I have to change character now. And depending on if it's a male or a female, I'll highlight it either pink or blue. You know, like maybe she's talking to two different people. Maybe she's talking to Henry and Jalissa. If she's talking to Henry, I'm gonna highlight it blue. She's talking to Jalissa, you know. So if I see quotations with no highlight, it's her, and then okay, it's blue. Now it's Henry. Okay, we're coming up to pink. Now we're and she's talking to Jalissa, and it kind of helps with the character because you want to make the least amount of mistakes as possible so that the editing is smooth sailing. You know.
No, that's another great inside tip. And I wanted to ask you about that because playing audiobooks once again, fictional audiobooks, I'm
Hmm.
always curious of characters playing the man and the woman voice. Like, do you go up an octave? Do you go down an octave? Like, how do you
Oh
mentally?
yeah. You well for males, I have to go down an octave or two.
Yeah, yeah, bring it.
My first time doing that, man, I had a hard time. I tried to put my voice lower, and I was like, oh, it sounded a little hoarse there. 'Cause I said my voice ain't supposed to go there, but I'm gonna try to get it there. So that took a lot of practice. My first book, I played Lance, and I his voice is pretty deep, and I had to kind of, work on it to get it like that. But I finally got it where it needed to be. But I struggled with, it took a lot of
There's a-
practice my first
Yeah,
time.
there's an audio guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the brother,
Hmm.
there's a lot of videos showing you how he's playing with these ranges, what he's doing to get to certain parts of his voice, and how he stays in the pocket. And how, he does all these videos showing all of this. It's amazing to watch
Hmm.
his process. I love watching his videos.
It's not that easy for a male to do a woman's voice. Like I've heard males, they'll, but why do you want to do this? And why do you want to do that? No, I want to do that. No, I don't. They'll change it, but very little, because they can't a deep voice. You can't really go that high, so they'll just kind of change it a little, just so you can hear the difference. That okay, there's a difference in character here, but um the more that you can do, the deeper you can go or the higher you can go, even better. And there's going to be times where you have to play a lot of different characters, so you're not just going to be one woman and one man. You're going to be multiple men, you're going to be multiple females, and so you're going to have different ranges in your arsenal. You know what I mean?
You know, the Game of Thrones book. I was playing the audio
Hmm.
version of Game of Thrones. Now we know Game of Thrones is a lot of characters, a lot. I really admired the narrator on the Game of whoever that is. I don't know who it is. I admire that range of playing children, you playing older people, you playing middle, you playing other kind of I want to say the word beast or whatever they are in the particular scene.
Hmm.
Like that's impressive
Hmm.
to have that kind of a range, man.
Hmm. Well, when I did, sorry, I would say like for fantasy, you're gonna be playing beasts and stuff like that. And for you think of a beast, or you think of a enemy, they're probably gonna have a deeper voice because they're probably gonna have these deep set eyes. I would say picture this person in your mind. How does this person look to you? Do they look mean? Or if they look mean, they're probably gonna have this deep, raspy
And
voice.
the guy I'm telling you about, he does this dragon thing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really, really imagine him in like a movie or something with this dragon villain voice. It's
Right.
impressive
It's
to watch.
you see the character in your head, and then you project that character into the mic.
So back to the acting part of it, and what you say is a lot of what happens in acting, like rehearsals and practice. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of diaphragmic work because you're on the stage, if you're in the auditorium, I gotta be able to project my voice to that person that paid for their ticket way in the back corner. They deserve the same performance as the person that's sitting right here. So I gotta be able to project my voice across
Right.
the theater. I gotta be able to enunciate. That's those mouth exercises, enunciating
Mm-hmm.
the lip and the tongue, and practice all
Mm-hmm.
those tongue twisters and different
But
things to get your mouth and your voice
the
ready.
thing with voiceover, though, you don't want to project too much, too close. Now,
Yeah,
that's another
sure,
thing.
sure.
There's going to be times you might have to yell. You might have to say something really loud. when I have to say something loud, I have to back up from the mic. I want to get soft and whisper. I'm gonna get a little closer to the mic. So it won't be that different.
Oh, see,
And
interesting.
you know, I want to
Yeah,
really yell and tell you how I feel. You don't piss me off. I'm gonna come a little back here because you don't want to be too loud and get distortion. You don't want to get and and those are just as worse as distortion because they're
yes
sharp
it is.
sounds.
Yes it is.
So back up when you want to really project and come in closer when your voice gets a little intimate. And then for regular sounding words, you see this right here? This
Yeah,
is the distance. You Here's your mouth, here's your mic. That's the distance you want. They call it
gotcha.
the peace sign or something like that.
Okay,
Distance.
okay.
But that's the distance that you want your mouth to
To the
be
mic.
from your mic. Yeah, that's the good way to keep a good distance. Just count, this distance
Right,
here.
right,
And
right.
just remember that when you're gonna be loud, back up. Not too far back, because then it's gonna sound
Maybe.
drowned out.
Yeah,
But give it enough distance.
yeah,
It depends on how loud you are too.
yeah.
Because
Like
or you might want it to sound like it's in the background. So then you have to back up a little bit more.
yeah, yeah. Cause me, when I have been in actual studios and actual like sets of a
Mhm.
radio show or something, I'm naturally
Mhm.
kind of projecting. I guess that training too I've had. I naturally project. I can be kind of loud with my voice.
Mhm.
So I gotta always kind of. Or they gotta turn me down. Like okay, someone coming. Okay, turn it down. No, even on the phone talking, I tend to like always go outside to talk on the phone. I know I naturally talk loud. I get excited. I'm naturally
Mhm.
that way. I gotta adjust to how I am.
Right. Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely have to adjust to the volume of because it's
but
not going to be monotone the whole way through. You're going to get
okay,
loud at some parts. You're going to get a little quiet because sometimes you'll see she whispered or he whispered. So okay, they just whispered. So I have to say this a little low. It's not supposed to be that loud, but you see those people over there? I think, certain
yeah,
parts you might have to whisper a line or some parts you're gonna have to scream, "Hey, come here!" Certain
right,
I gotta get away from the mic because
yeah,
that will distort the signal,
yeah,
and that sounds absolutely horrible. I've actually heard audio that have not used the
the
moving
range,
back and forth method,
yeah,
and it'll hurt your ears.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I'm gonna say one closing note on the audio thing for my authors out there watching this show.
Mhm.
After reading my own audiobook, because most of us as adults, we all read inside our head, we read silently, right?
Mhm.
You ever read
I do.
aloud in years probably. Unless you have
Right.
small you might have read to your kids or something, but like outside of that, or being a teacher, outside of that, you probably haven't read aloud in years. So
Right.
my first time going to the studio to record my own audiobook, first of all,
Different
I started
experience.
realizing like, wow, like how different it is. But I
Mhm.
also always tell my writing friends this: you will change how you write once you're literally reading aloud. Because like you said with the breath and how things naturally stop, you
Mhm.
realize like this word shouldn't be here, or I need another word to bridge this space right here. Like you realize in your writing what to change as you're allowed. So my writing process now, after I
Mhm.
finish writing and editing, I'm doing it right now. I got a book that's coming out in a few weeks. I'm sitting
Mhm.
up, I'm reading the whole entire book aloud as if I'm recording it to
Right.
see I don't want this word. I'm taking this out
Right.
because I know
Mhm.
how it sounds when I'm reading it. So it changes
Right.
my writing, like literally changes my writing. I tell all of my friends,
Yep.
yeah. So I appreciate your time. That is our show for the evening. This has been another great, amazing, information packed Sean P experience. If you're watching this, anybody out there get a pen and paper. She dropped a lot of audio products. She dropped names. She dropped places. She dropped sites. I mean, there's a lot of things that was given here. So thank you for everything that you gave us. I appreciate you,
So
bottom of the heart.
welcome.
And I will see y'all on Thursday at 12 o'clock p.m. I have Dr. Imani Perry breaking down Me Forever We Stand, the Black National Anthem. Until next time, Sean P. Experience.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for everyone in the chat for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for the chat. Always love the chat, man. Y'all make the world go round.